So first, I just want to say thank you for choosing to attend this session. I know you have several choices, and I appreciate you being here. So let me jump right in, and first kind of level set on who AccuWeather is. I won't spend a bunch of time here, but AccuWeather, we're actually in our 55th year of operation. We're kind of one of the oldest startups around because we constantly are reinventing ourselves in order to take advantage of new platforms and new technologies. We serve through an API over 30 billion data requests a day. It's very robust. It's used to both serve our partners, but then also our own applications and websites as well. And we employ, over 100 meteorologists and produce our own weather forecasts globally. So we're not just spitting back out other people's forecasts. We are producing our own unique forecasts for the entire globe. Today I'm going to focus on, there's actually 5 areas, even though 4 are on this slide, that we're calling emerging platforms. So things like connected car, connected health, connected fitness, data, which is kind of all encompassing for us, and then also touch on bots and voice as well, and kind of what we're doing in those areas. So let's get into this. From a connected car perspective, we have many conversations going on. We've deployed our content in the likes of Jaguar Land Rover cars and Ford through tethered applications and a few others over the past several years. But most of those deployments are actually really, really simple, kind of today's forecast, 5 days forecast, and we are really set on changing the way weather is consumed inside of vehicles and making it much more meaningful, keeping people safe, ultimately even saving lives potentially by alerting people to weather that could be ahead of them on their route. And so rather than burying a 5-day forecast 7 clicks deep into an experience, we want to surface really meaningful weather in a very timely manner. We have a product called MinuteCast along a route, which actually only looks out 2 hours, so it's a very short-term forecast, but it actually looks at every minute, so the next 120 minutes. And if we have the route of the vehicle, we can also then make determinations around how the weather for those next 120 minutes are going to affect the route, the road conditions, and other areas regarding that. I'm going to play a quick video that gives a brief overview of our MinuteCast Along Route product, and we'll talk about it a little bit more after that.
AccuWeather now brings drivers the power of minute-by-minute forecasts with superior accuracy, providing a whole new level of safety to the road ahead. Drivers enjoy next-level personalized weather innovation, providing actionable information that helps you navigate your trip. Each year in the US, there are more than 1.3 million weather-related accidents. AccuWeather monitors all weather conditions relevant to your drive down to the minute, giving drivers peace of mind with severe condition notifications in advance. AccuWeather's hyper-local minute-by-minute forecasts and user-generated reports help drivers avoid potential hazards and dangerous conditions, bringing you to your destination safely. To learn more about AccuWeather's commitment to safety, accuracy, and innovation, visit AccuWeather.com/accuracy.
The other thing to keep in mind around, not just once you're in the car and you have your route in, if we can know your route ahead of time, maybe your daily commute, home and work type routes, we can start to make suggestions on maybe leave a little bit later, leave a little bit earlier to avoid weather conditions that may either just not be worth sitting through or again potentially be a much safer travel event than going out into a very severe thunderstorm that usually pass pretty quickly. So can I leave before it and arrive before it actually hits the area I'm going to, or do I delay my trip a little bit and miss it that way also? Also from an autonomous vehicle standpoint, once all of us are just sitting in our cars doing nothing but talking or playing games, something needs to be paying attention to the weather ahead of us. So it's another area that we're certainly interested in exploring more of and making sure that as autonomous vehicles become prevalent, that there are systems and data available in the car to make decisions and alert passengers of those vehicles as well. I'm going to move on to connected health now. From a health perspective, there's many areas, ailments or diseases that are either directly or indirectly affected by weather conditions. including things like air quality that may exacerbate certain conditions. An area that's of particular activity for us right now is either asthma or COPD. And we have a few partnerships going on there. One with Cohero Health and Omron. We're involved with their connected rescue inhaler product and also their connected spirometer product. Some of it is simple capture of weather data when a rescue inhaler is used. So we can store those conditions on an individual basis, and then we can start to develop personalized indices over time. So it's not about a generic, hey, asthma conditions may be bad for a general population in a location. We can begin to get down pretty rapidly to a very specific risk assessment for each individual, depending upon triggers and events that may happen within their daily routines. We also are doing some academic studies with the likes of Virginia Tech University and Harvard Medical School to learn more about weather's impact and specific weather conditions that may bring on or assist in risk around these areas. Fitness is pretty straightforward, honestly. I think anybody who's involved in fitness, many times that involves going outside, and we all tend to look at when's the best time. I'm going to go for a run or go for a bike ride. We have existing partnerships with all three of the organizations on the board. We just most recently launched on the Fitbit Ionic, baked into the product. And we're looking to expand and really dig into maybe some very specific performance issues there. So when are your personal records set and what are the weather conditions for those? Or just simply when do I get my 10,000 steps in for the day? And what are the best opportunities to go and do that? Is it morning, lunchtime, dinner, around those times to get this stuff done? We have a very robust historic database as well, so we can look backwards over time. And just learn from that and maybe produce some interesting insights, but then also potentially productize some of these insights that we can have by looking backwards in order to take and predict the future. That it's not just about what the temperature is today, but how does that impact my day? So when do I get my workouts in this week? What are they going to feel like? Are they going to be harder than usual, easier than usual, things like that. Data. I kind of hate the title of this slide because it's very generic, but there's a few pieces where we're looking at data. So one is a cloud-based analytics products. So whether those are deployed on Google, Amazon, Microsoft Cloud products, where our weather data, along with some of our other content like location data, which we have a very robust set of, we can start to pair that up with other companies' data, and again, do some of that looking backwards if there's historic data available. But then also to use those learnings to predict what might happen from a sales standpoint, from a foot traffic standpoint, from a logistics, supply chain event standpoint, and things like that. We've also done a couple really cool studies. The one I'll talk about is with Spotify. So there's actually a microsite out there called ClimaTunes. And what we did with them is we looked at 1,000 global locations and looked at different weather conditions in each of those locations. And then Spotify looked at how do music listening habits change in a particular location under a particular weather condition. And so from that microsite, you can actually not only see what songs are popular in a particular location in a particular weather condition, but you can also then export those playlists to your Spotify account if you choose to. There's things like that where you just kind of learn about insights and maybe eventually it even gets to intent from an advertising perspective or from a context around how are people going to consume weather content and what kind of decisions are they trying to make. We also did a study with Withings, it's listed as Nokia on the board because they were purchased by Nokia, around average daily steps taken and weather conditions, which was also really interesting. Bot and voice. So from a bot and voice standpoint, we're approaching this as one framework internally to address all of these different platforms. So we are the out-of-the-box weather on Amazon Alexa and have been since it launched. We are also getting ready to launch an action on Google Voice, and we've launched a bot on Facebook at this time. We're building a back-end system that supports each of these, or any of these plus others as they pop up from a central spot. And we're working on things like AI to learn from the requests that are happening within these platforms, and then also working with even third parties on developing personality around these. So let's make it much more engaging than just delivering weather information in a traditional format about the next week's forecast, and let's learn about the individuals, let's learn about their activities over time, potentially even, and then deliver this with some personality. So there's one saying around the company that talks about the weatherman in your pocket or in your home that's delivering information that's very specific to you, that goes above and beyond just telling you what the temperature and whether there's precipitation or not tomorrow or this week. And so we're really trying to answer those questions that all of us look to answer when we look at the weather forecast daily. So those are the main areas that we're working on. I would love to open up the floor for questions and go from there. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions to weather? Anything related to technology and weather? No? All right.
Nothing?
Do you want to add anything else before you...
No, I don't think so. Again, we do have a robust API, so if any of you are developers and have an interest in weather data, there's a website, developer.accuweather.com, and there's a few of us here. We can talk to you afterwards if you have specific questions that maybe you don't want to ask in front of the crowd. Okay?